Dark Knight is a class that feels like they deserve way more love than they get, judging solely on the fact of how many people asked me to make a guide for them. Aside from a few surface level understandings to get around, they aren't bad whatsoever either, so let's kick this guide off by explaining all their skills. Explorer Warrior's Link skill is very simply a heal that activates when you fall below 15% max health, rapidly replenishing it all back, 90-second cooldown. For mobility, Dark Knight gets the old tried and true flash jump with an up jump tacked onto it, which can now both be chained into each other if you up jump first. Leap attack, which slams you down to the ground by pressing any direction except up and simultaneously holding the basic attack key, and rush, which pushes you and enemies forward. Let's get into the attacks. Dark Knight gets a few throughout the first 3 job ranks, but your main mobbing skill you unlock at 4th is Dark Impale. Nothing special, just pokes in front of you. Gungnir's Descent is the main bossing skill, getting extra damage based on 110% of your max health, which, even with 100,000 health, is not a lot, but it sure is something. Nightshade Explosion is an AoE attack all around you, which can be used during the animation of Spear of Darkness. It can be thrown up, down, or straight forward, and reduces damage taken right before you toss said spear. 10-second cooldown on both of these, so they synergize pretty well. Calamitous Cyclone is a hold down hurricane that gives super stance, resistances, and damage reduction while being held. It deals a load of damage, can be held for up to 4 seconds, you can move around during it, and has a typical 2-minute cooldown. Also, at the very end, either when released or after 4 seconds is up, it does one final attack that heals you. Dark Knight also gets this floating Evil Eye as a toggle-on companion. Passively, it gives you and your party members various buffs, heals you, attacks enemies nearby it and alongside you, and even has its own attacks. Evil Eye Shock is another AoE attack in front of you, with a 10-second cooldown. You can't use it while Radiant Evil is out and active though. Radiant Evil places your eye down in an area for a few seconds, just dealing constant damage, 20-second cooldown. Lastly for attacks, Darkness Aura deals damage in the area around you. It also heals you, and healing past your max health converts the excess into a shield. During its 40-second duration, you can click it again at any time to get one large final attack that does a cool 813 gabillion lines. The aura even stays after you attack with it. It lasts the full 40 seconds, 2-minute cooldown. Now for buffs. Okay, what the hell is this? So before it can even be toggled on, Final Pact first asks you to choose what type of pact you'd like to make, and each one determines how long you're invincible for after your health bar reaches 0, and how many hits it'll take for you to reduce the cooldown of said pact. Lesser is a 2-second iframe with a 3-minute cooldown, and landing 24 hits reduces its cooldown to a little under 2 minutes. Moderate is an 8-second iframe, 44 hits reduces its 4-minute 20-second cooldown to 3 minutes. And Greater is a 40-second iframe. 52 hits brings its initial 15-minute cooldown to 10 minutes. No matter which one you choose, they all act as a free extra life when they do pop. The iframe is just extra. Oh, same with the passive stats it gives no matter which pact you choose. Magic Crash is a niche little debuff that blocks enemies from casting things like Damage Reflect or Weapon Cancel, 1-minute cooldown. Dark Resonance and Dark Thirst are both damage buffs that heal you. Resonance immediately, and Thirst with every attack, 70-second and 1-minute cooldowns respectively, but Resonance lowers its cooldown per attack you do. Epic Adventure gives you and all other explorers in your party 10% damage for a minute. Weapon Aura sends waves of damage flying out of you every 5 seconds. Maple World Goddess's Blessing is a damage boost. And Impenetrable Skin gives super stance and status resistance. All of these have a 2-minute cooldown. Blitz Shield has a 15-second cooldown, and it's simply a shield on your health bar and damage reducer. Clicking it again detonates it, dealing trace amounts of damage. I think it's useful for grinding though. Hyperbody is arguably the most iconic Dark Knight skill ever, giving you and your whole party bonus % health and mana. Sadly, it doesn't make your max health higher than 100%. It just gives you more health into your max, so you can still be one-shot by attacks. Cross Surge is a massive final damage buff, both passively and actively. It also reduces damage taken based on your missing health. Now for the skills worth prioritizing at 5th job. Spear of Darkness first above all else, as it's a huge burst of damage every 10 seconds, then Radiant Evil, Calamitous Cyclone, and lastly Darkness Aura. For Trinodes, following the tried and true get whatever's boosted at 6th job. You'll want Dark Impale, Gungnir's Descent, Nightshade Explosion, Final Attack, and Evil Eye, in no particular order. You could add in a filler skill to close that last boost node gap, which could either be Rush, or another skill you wanted to max out sooner. Only 5 needed, real simple. And now for the hyper passives. Starting with Evil Eye, Reinforce gives bonus damage to your summon's attacks, and Hex Reinforce gives 30 extra passive attack, now bringing it up to 70 for yourself, and 35 for party members. Aura Reinforce is only a 10% heal every 24 seconds, pretty useless. Moving on to Final Pact. Damage is best in slot, as it passively gives you final damage, so absolutely get that. Crit chance too if you needed a bit more crit rate to cap that out. Reduced target isn't that great, because once you reach 5th job, you won't have issues hitting enough times for any pact, through using Spear of Darkness and Radiant Evil. Lastly, Gungnir. Absolutely get damage up, and boss damage if you passed up Final Pact's crit rate. Guard Break just gets outclassed by other much higher damage boosting choices. Full disclosure, my Dark Knight isn't at 6th job, but I'll still try to cover it as best as I can. Masteries wise, nothing much changes besides the animations and increased damage, as per usual, and also 2 new attacks. Dark Bident, which is a passive bonus attack that comes out every 6 seconds when you use Dark Impale, and Evil Eye's Punishment, which is another passive attack that happens every time you accrue 3 Vengeful Brands through Revenge of the Evil Eye, at a 60% chance per Vengeful Brand. The origin is Dead Space, being a typical as expected origin. Invincible while the whole animation plays out, binds the boss, big damage, 6-minute cooldown. Lastly, the Ascent, Dark Halidom, is also a standard typical Ascent. Invincible while the animation plays out, deals a load of damage, 4-minute cooldown outside of bosses, or 3 total uses per boss fight. Got all that? No? Okay, then let's make Dark Knight easy. Starting off with pact choice, which is the best? Well, put simply, lesser, the left option. Since Pact's main function, aside from iframe duration and cooldown, is its ability to give you a free life every time it's off cooldown, that means the less time you have to wait, the better. Attacking the boss as normal, that's an extra life every 2 minutes through lesser. Dark Knight's biggest issue is they don't have much survivability in the sense of iframes, outside of Pact, Origin, and Ascent, and the Genesis weapon when you liberate that. Moderate Pact is fine, though fairly situational, seeing as its shortened cooldown is 3 minutes, same as Lesser's non-shortened cooldown, and you get an iframe that's 6 seconds longer. Greater is also situational, and the Dark Knight Discord only recommends it for minimum clearing bosses you're running the timer out on, as a last push to focus on nothing but damage for the last minute or so. For nearly every situation though, yeah, just stick with Lesser Pact. Now for a little bit of stringing attacks together. Spear of Darkness into Nightshade Explosion makes it so while winding up the spear, preparing to throw it, you can get some quick damage out through Nightshade, and immediately follow that up with Spear's damage. Likewise, you'll always want to cast Evil Eye Shock right before Radiant Evil. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until Radiant finishes before you can cast Shock. I highlight these 4 skills in particular because Dark Knights cite these as skills you'll always want on cooldown. Use them up whenever they're available, and done right, they'll all fit mostly square within one another. 10 and 20 second cooldowns, they all fit pretty well. Whichever combos you want to use first doesn't matter, just so long as Spear is before Nightshade and Shock is before Radiant. Remember these combos, as they'll be vital to your damage throughout boss fights when you aren't bursting or spamming Gungnir's Descent. Oh, also, specifically on the bossing side of things, you can end off Cyclone with Darkness Aura's second use attack. This one's not hugely important, but it does save a little bit of time. Though, yeah, don't forget about Darkness Aura's second hit. Lots of lines, big damage, make use of it. You'll want it bound to a button, by the way, so you can use that second attack. Besides that, yeah, do your best with Pact in tow, and good luck, have fun. For grinding, just place Erda Fountain down in an area you won't frequent much, use Dark Impale, and your shorter cooldown skills to clear the area around you. That's it really. Soul Janus Dawn and or Dusk at 6th job makes this much easier, but even still, you'll clear pretty comfortably prior to that. If you're curious about what weapon to choose between Spear or Polearm, look no further. Spear. From it, you get more attack speed, more damage, higher base attack and bonus attack from good weapon flames, and so far they are currently the only spear-centric class in the whole game. Why not use one? Well, I guess you could use a polearm for the aesthetics if you really liked how they look. I don't blame you, some of them snowboards are really cool. Moving on, yes, Dark Knight is also a cooldown hat class. The more cooldown lines you can get, the better, but realistically, aiming for a -2 to -4 second hat is fine enough. According to the Dark Knight Discord, they equate 1 second of cooldown reduction to about 15% strength, roughly. That calculation's apparently a bit old, so your mileage may vary. Sequences are a little different from other classes. Standard bread and butter ones for buffs, consisting of your no cooldown buffs and decent skills, 2-minute burst being all your big damaging 1 and 2-minute cooldown skills, and 1-minute burst being anything damaging with a 1-minute cooldown. Oz rings tossed in however you see fit, ideally Ring of Restraint in the 2-minute sequence. There's also another slightly more niche option for casting Blitz Shield faster than its default animation, by putting it on its own sequence with whatever else other skills, preferably like Hyper Body, Cross Surge, or Decence. Link skills time! Grinding is the usual Evan, Mercedes, and Aran for longer rune duration, XP gained, and additional combo orb XP respectively, Lara for more normal enemy damage, and then the remaining gaps filled with whichever damage dealing links you had and or wanted to use. Bossing, you'll always and forever want Angelic Buster's link on everybody. Past that, yeah, more bossing centric damage dealing links like Ark and Mojuan, Hayato and Kana, the demons, Explorer, Thief and Mage, etc. Resistance Link always makes way for comfier bossing, giving you 12 seconds to breathe every time you revive in a boss fight. But yeah, a layout like this is what I use. Inner ability goes like this for bossing. Attack speed plus 1 first line, because you want to reach that attack speed cap however you can, and this makes it possible. Second and third lines would be boss damage and abnormal status damage. Buff duration for a longer AB link, Dark Resonance, Final Pact I think, etc. or flat attack are fine enough settles, but nowadays both of those get outclassed by just raw damage from boss and abnormal. A grinding preset will just be the usual drop, meso, and normal monster damage. Bursting is pretty simple. Make sure your Pact and Evil Eye toggles are both on, buff up, pop your 2-minute burst sequence, bind here if you're on binding duties, then do the spear combos. Spear of Darkness followed by Nightshade Explosion, and Evil Eye Shock immediately into Radiant Evil. Afterwards, hold Calamitous Cyclone for 4 seconds, and once that ends, pop the second cast of Darkness Aura for big damage, and then go back to spamming Gungnir and your spear combinations whenever they're off cooldown. Your origin will fit in either at the very beginning right after you cast your burst sequence, or at the very end right after Cyclone and Darkness Aura. For a 1-minute burst, just spam your spear combos and Gungnir. Also, of course, don't forget your 1-minute burst sequence. Once you're comfortable with your spear combos, this is pretty simple stuff. And you made it to the end. Thanks to my channel members, such as Zikma, thanks to the Dark Knight Discord for having info on this class, though not much of it up to date in the guide section, but instead me finding it crawling around through the various discussion channels. And thank you for watching this far. If you got video suggestions for me, send them my way down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that other YouTuber stuff if you felt so inclined. And yeah, until next time, that's all.